Welcome. My name is Crystal Lear, and thank you for taking this time to learn more about our new ex-bred cur category. Anyone familiar with the coonhounds may already have an idea as to what this is all about. A big thanks to the UKC staff for all their hard work on this project, with a special thanks to Joe Newland for his contribution and help. Unclear guidelines within the single registration process have led to issues and misunderstandings about the tree and cur breed. UKC first recognized the tree and cur in 1998. Substantial work was done at first to establish a foundation stock of this breed. Since then, lines have been blurred when it comes to what a tree and cur is and is not. Many times, dogs have been refused due to being too hound-like to be registered as a tree and cur, but tree and curs were commonly known as any dog that will tree, and more commonly known as a hound-cur cross. So how do we fix this problem while maintaining the integrity of an established breed? In an attempt to standardize single registration, we at UKC have decided that we should no longer consider all single registered dogs as purebred due to the recent knowledge of how many of these purebred dogs were actually products of crossbreeding and dogs of unknown ancestry. With all of this in mind, we have created the ex-bred cur category to bridge this gap between single registered dogs and those considered purebred. Our goals for this program are to more accurately categorize the breeds of the curs that are single registered with us, as well as offer our customers a more honest avenue for registering these dogs. This program will also broaden the participation pool of dogs in this breed while increasing the health, longevity, and performance of stock by allowing outside blood to be brought in. So what exactly is an ex-bred cur? The X in their name is a symbol for the unknown, while also being a symbol commonly used to indicate a known cross. The ex-bred category is open to a few different types of dogs. A dog can be registered as an ex-bred cur if it is the product of a cross between two UKC registered curs, such as a black-mouthed cur and a Stevens cur cross, a cross between two ex-bred curs, a cross between an ex-bred cur and a purebred cur, as long as that purebred cur is UKC registered, a cross between a purebred cur and a purebred coonhound. So for instance, a cross between a black-mouthed cur and an English coonhound would be welcome to be registered as an ex-bred cur. You can also cross an ex-bred cur with a purebred coonhound and vice versa, so you can also throw in the ex-bred coonhound on a purebred cur. And finally, a cross between a cur and a feist will also be considered as an ex-bred cur. Aside from these acceptable crosses, the ex-bred cur category is also open to curs that may be purebred but are born with a color disqualification, or if you have a cur with an unknown ancestry. Now that we know what qualifies a dog as an ex-bred cur, let's talk about what an ex-bred cur is not. An ex-bred cur is not a cross between any two coonhound breeds, nor is it a cross between an ex-bred coonhound and a dog that is not a UKC recognized cur or feist breed. So you cannot cross a coonhound on a pointer and register it as an ex-bred cur, and you also cannot cross a Spitz on a coonhound and register it as an ex-bred cur. An ex-bred cur is not registered as a hound in UKC or any other registry. It will not be acceptable to attempt to register a dog that is actually a hound, even if you have done so in another registry. An ex-bred cur is not a way to beat the system or a path to be used to allow coonhound breeds to hunt in the cur squirrel hunts or cur coon hunts. UKC Cur event rules do not allow for the entry of any coonhound breeds in the Cur events. This program does not change or supersede those rules. Attempts to falsify records in any way to bypass this by registering hounds as curs is subject to the inherent rights and powers of the UKC. Here's a list of eligible breeds that you may cross in order to make an ex-bred cur. A treeing cur, a mountain cur, a Stevens cur, a black-mouthed cur, a treeing feist or a mountain feist, an American Black and Tan Coonhound, an American Leopard Hound, a Blue Tick Coonhound, an English Coonhound, a Plott Hound, a Red-Bone Coonhound, or a Treeing Walker Coonhound. Rules and policies regarding the ex-bred cur program are: ex-bred curs may be litter registered, ex-bred curs may compete and license UKC Cur squirrel hunts as well as UKC Cur night hunts. Ex-bred curs may not participate in UKC licensed bench shows or conformation shows. Ex-bred curs will be eligible for any incentive type programs if they are implemented in the future. Ex-bred curs will not be eligible for high-scoring breed awards. Ex-bred curs will be eligible for top, current, and historical reproducers lists. Ex-bred curs will be eligible to apply for acceptance and entry into purebred after achieving 80% coefficiency. Breed associations will determine whether to allow re-entry of ex-bred curs via breed transfer. Let's look at a few examples of ex-bred curs. Here we have one of the UKC recognized purebred cur breeds, the Stevens cur, that was bred to a UKC recognized purebred coonhound, a Treeing Walker. The offspring of these two purebred dogs would be 50% Stevens cur and 50% Treeing Walker coonhound, qualifying it for the ex-bred category. Here's a slightly different example. We see that the ex-bred cur sire is registered as a Treeing cur, but by looking at what's behind that Treeing cur, we see that the dog is actually an example of what we now call an ex-bred cur. But that Treeing cur is a part of the Treeing cur Foundation stock. By taking that purebred mountain cur and breeding it to the Treeing cur, we see an ex-bred offspring resulting from a cross between two different UKC recognized cur breeds. Finally, we have an example of what the pedigree will look like behind an ex-bred cur that is breed transfer eligible, meaning the dog is pure enough to be considered purebred. You see that this all started with a red-bone and a black-mouthed cur cross. The product of those two was an ex-bred cur. That ex-bred cur was then bred to a purebred black-mouthed cur. That cross produced more ex-bred cur pups, but instead of being 50% black-mouthed cur and 50% red-bone, this ex-bred is now 25% red-bone and 75% black-mouthed cur. Moving on, the 1/4 red-bone and 3/4 black-mouthed cur ex-bred is then bred to another purebred black-mouthed cur. The litter produced by these two dogs comes out to be only 13% red-bone and 87% black-mouthed cur. The ex-bred pups in this litter are now above the required 80% mark and are considered eligible for breed transfer. Breed transfer eligibility and procedures are things we will talk about on our next slide. To shed a little light on what a breed transfer is when an eligible ex-bred cur reaches 80% purebred and then qualifies to be considered for reintroduction into the purebred gene pool. UKC approved breed associations will control whether to be open or closed to breed transfers. Owner of a breed transfer eligible dog must submit proper paperwork to UKC. UKC will either approve or deny said applicant. The breed transfer fee will be $30, and dogs transferred from ex-bred to purebred or vice versa will retain championship points and degrees with the exception of bench show points. Any UKC registered coonhound, cur, or feist in the pedigree of an ex-bred cur will have the breed's abbreviation printed next to the dog's UKC registration number. In the example, you see the UKC registration number with TW next to it, standing for Treeing Walker. This is how your dog's ancestors will appear on their pedigree. All the coonhound, cur, and feist abbreviations are listed below. UKC determines all single registration rules, policies, and procedures, and each single registration form must be submitted with a $25 single registration fee. In closing, the ex-bred cur program will be a wonderful addition to the cur breed, allowing outside blood to be introduced while solidifying the line between Treeing curs and crossbred dogs. This program also gives a home to purebreds who were not formally allowed to participate due to unknown ancestry or color disqualifications. We hope you find this program beneficial to the improvement of the cur breeds.